Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankara Acharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmad Gurubhyo Namaha श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम श्री मेधा दक्षिणामूर्ति स्वामिने नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। ओम पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्धदामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्र रुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसां पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। Namaste once again, everyone.
Namaste, Raghuji.
So, in the last class, we were seeing how the intense emotional state of Arjuna's mind got transferred into intense physical distress or physical problems for Arjuna. All that he explained, that he's sweating and his hairs are standing on the end. The bow is slipping from his hand. His limbs are drooping. All that are, a result of the depressive state of mind which Arjuna is going deeper and deeper into that. And now he continues to justify as to why he should not fight this war. Numerous justifications he offers for withdrawing from this battle. Just imagine, our cricket captain, Mr. Virat Kohli, goes to World Cup and sees a very strong Pakistan team and starts arguing with the manager that he should not play this game. That after all these people are our people. Once upon a time, India and Pakistan were united. They are our like brothers only. We must not fight them. Like that, you just imagine if Virat Kohli does such a thing. Arjuna exactly is doing that in the battlefield. Because these days cricket matches are no less than Kurukshetra battle, especially if it is between India and Pakistan, isn't it? Anyway, so he gives numerous reasons as to why he should withdraw from this war, and we will see all those reasons now. We will read the next sloka. Nimittani cha pachyami viparitani keshava nacha shreyo nupashyami hatva swajanamahave. Anvaya is, He Keshava, viparitani nimittani cha pashyami ahave swajanam cha hatva shreyah na anupashyami. This is what he is giving the first reason. Typical. I will explain that later. First, let us see the word meanings. He Keshava, O Keshava, O Krishna. Viparitani, adverse. Nimittani. Nimittani means omens. indications or portents, you can call. Cha and pashyami, I am seeing, I see. Ahave, in this war, swajanam cha hatva. Moreover, killing my own people, shreyaha, any good, na anupashyami, I do not see. So he says, oh Krishna, I see adverse omens also, adverse portents also. Moreover, killing my own people in this war, I don't see any good happening to any of us. So this is how he starts off. Whenever we want to avoid, especially previous generations and all, they will always blame something exterior to them. Some omens, oh, this time is not, but if nothing is there, they will say it is Rahu Kalam. So we should not do this in Rahu Kalam. All these things are all very convenient excuses for not doing a thing or postponing doing a thing. Okay. Anyhow. So he says, seeing my own people, Swajanam, again he uses Swajanam. All that Durbuddhe and all forgotten now. Whole Durbuddhe has become Swajanam now. Okay. So he could not see in his state of mind any good coming out of this battle. He has totally forgotten the good, which is establishment of dharma, or should we say re-establishment of dharma. Was the whole purpose of this war? That he seems to have totally forgotten about that, and he says that he does not see anything good coming out of this war. Okay. And he says his own people like Bhishma, Drona and all will be destroyed in this war. And after all, even Duryodhana, whatever he is my cousin, my blood relation. How can I destroy him? How can I kill him? See the way this attachment, this raga, how he develops. As I told you, in our practical life, day-to-day life, we may not probably see this intensity of our attachments. But this being a sort of an epic, Vyasacharya has to portray it with little on a broader, bigger canvas. So there is a little bit of exaggeration could be there. We cannot, in all movies, all storytelling, there is an exaggeration always. If it is not exaggerated, then it will not, capture people's imagination. It will not keep people engaged. That's why in many movies we see, he will be a very poor person, but when you go to his house, it will be a palatial house he will be living. So all these things are, blowing out of proportion is a standard thing for storytelling. So here also, Arjuna is saying, these are all my own people. Duryodhana is, after all, you look at it, is not that bad. Later on, he will say it is because of greed, all these things are happening. These people are not bad themselves. All these arguments Arjuna will give later. Okay. So here he says, Duryodhana also is, after all, my cousins. And that apart, I am seeing all sort of, bad omens and all that. That nothing good is going to come out of this war. And both these omens which he sees, this psychological and physical omens that he claims he is seeing, they are all indicating an unpleasant outcome of this war. That's what he says. And from this, it is very clear that most of the times, these omens and all we see is projected by our own mind. When we are very strong, we see good omens. Like, somebody says, bell rings. When I say something, a bell rings, oh, good omen. It is going to happen. In fact, some people, they conduct puja. And there will be an idol or a photo of some deity. And they will have put lot of flowers on that, on that photo. So what will happen is when actually toward the end of the puja, they are showing this arati and ringing the bell and all that. One or two flowers will fall. They will say, what a good omen. Bhagavan has accepted our, our puja and our prayers. And that is why he has indicated it by the flowers falling. All these things, when you are in a strong mind, you will see good omens. Right? But when you have a weak mind, you will see only bad omens. So all this omens business and all, you will see, an imaginary cat crossing your path, and especially a black cat crossing your path. Or as we say in Tamil, a single Brahmin coming in front of you is supposed to be a bad omen. Vatta Brahmana Shagunam, they say in Tamil. Those who don't know Tamil, I'm sorry, I can only translate it roughly. Bad omen of accosting a single Brahmin when you are set out for doing something. That means that's a bad omen and that thing will fail. So all these things, when you have a weak mind, you see all these bad omens. Okay. So the more we become weaker, the more these things will become visible. If you set out anything taking Ishwara's name, praying to Ishwara, Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha, Nirvignam Kurume Deva, with that prayer, you start everything will become successful only. If it is not successful, maybe your karma, one reason is your karma did not act positively at that point in time, so it did not succeed. Or your efforts which you put in for that thing may have fallen short of what was required. The omens and all have nothing to do with that. But this is how the human mind works, rather. Okay. So all these things which he is saying indicates that now Arjuna's sorrow is more and more intensifying. Okay. I had to unmute somebody. Mute somebody. So his sorrow is intensifying, and what was a cyclonic storm is now slowly turning into a massive cyclone. That's what is happening. So we'll see the next sloka. Nakangshe vijayam Krishna, nacha rajyam sukhani cha, kim no rajyena govinda, kim bhogai jivitena va. See what kind of thing he is saying now. I'll give you the Anvaya. Hey Krishna, Kankshena Vijayam, Nacha Rajyam, Na Sukhani Cha. Hey Govinda, Nakim Rajyena Kim Bogaihi Va Kim Jivitena. He says, oh Krishna, Kankshe, I desire, Na Vijayam, neither victory, Nacha Rajyam, nor the kingdom, na Sukhanicha, nor the pleasures. Hey Govinda, O Krishna, Naha, for us, Kim Rajyena, what is the use of this kingdom? Kim Bhogaihi, what is the use of all the sense pleasures that we are going to get after we win this kingdom? Or Kim Jivitena, what is the use of this life itself? Hey Krishna, when Dronacharya and Bhishmacharya and all would have gone, destroyed in this war, what is the use of this life? Why should I live? See the intensity of his depression, how it is worse than Bay of Bengal. It's so much, it is developing rather. So he says, oh Krishna, I neither desire victory, nor kingdom, nor any pleasure. What is the use of this kingdom for us? And what is the use of all these sense pleasures? When all these people are gone, what is the use of our life itself, Krishna? Why should I fight this war? Is what he is asking. Same Arjuna, whom we saw, who says, Senayor Upayor Madhye, Ratam Sthapaya, take my, chariot and put it or place it in between the two armies. The warrior Arjuna who wanted to inspect the armies, that Arjuna is talking, the same Arjuna is talking, what is the use of my life? See how things can change because of this raga, attachment. So he is now seeing that the whole life is meaningless. And these are all typical problems or rather mental problems of samsara. And Arjuna is not an exception. Many of us would face the similar situation if we are put in the same kind of circumstances. So he's asking, for whom should I live? Why should I live? Why should I eat? Why should I drink? Why should I have coffee? All these silly questions. In fact, if you have seen people who are in depression, these are the typical behavior of theirs. Why should I wear these kind of clothes? Why should I do anything at all? One of the signs of depression is these people will become inactive rather. They won't feel like doing. They will always be lying down. They'll be sleeping. Sleeping means eyes will be closed or they will be like sleeping, but they won't sleep because the depressive state of mind will not allow them to have a good sleep also. And the whole life will actually appear to be meaningless, empty. It's a very dangerous situation because the next stage, if this is allowed to continue, this thought of meaninglessness of this life, futility of this life, if this thought is allowed to build up more and more, it leads to suicide, taking one's own life. That is exactly the pattern, the behavioral pattern you can observe in people who commit suicide. They have come to that stage. Okay. And it is really very, funny, unique thing, because Vedanta says that in this entire universe, the only meaningful thing for you is you yourself. The only meaningful thing in this entire creation is you, my dear, says Vedanta. And meaning for life or meaning for your existence does not depend upon any external factor at all. That is the teaching of this Shastras. But what happens? Because of our ignorance, we start getting associated with the world, with the people, with various activities and all that. We begin to enjoy them. They give us some pleasure. And when that happens, we get more and more interested, more and more involved in those activities. We go to the extent of putting our heart and soul in those pursuits. And we in our mind make them more and more meaningful. And after some time, it appears as though these things are all making our life meaningful. First, we lend a meaning to that and continue to pursue it. After some time, what happens? We start believing that these things are making our life meaningful. And you observe this. This is a practical thing each one of us can observe. A person will start learning music. He will progress. It will give him some joy initially. He will get more and more deeper into it. More and more pleasure he will derive. After some time, he will start believing that the whole purpose of his life is this music only, and without this music, I will be it will be disastrous for me. This music is making my life meaningful. Whereas, my dear, you were the one who first gave meaning to this music itself. That they forget. Because what happens? Because of ignorance, because of avidya or ajnanam, we get addicted to these things. Any addiction, for music is one example I gave you. Drugs, all these things, these addictions, the more we get into these addictions, the more it will lead to eventually making us believe that we cannot live without them. So instead of our mastering it, these addictions start mastering us, dictating to us, and driving our behavior. That's what happens. A sportsman who is addicted to sports thinks that without sports, his life will be meaningless. A workaholic, a person who's used to doing lot of work, very busy man when in his career. When he retires, he feels that his life is meaningless. He doesn't know what to do. And this is a fact that many of the people, many of the men folk at least, you will find one fine day, they will put one nice garland and give them a nice farewell party and send them home. After coming home, next day morning, they will wake up, they don't know what to do. Because they were so addicted to doing work, getting up in the morning, getting ready, going to office and doing so many things, coming back late at night, attending parties, this, that, and all meetings. Now they don't know what to do. They will feel that their whole life has become meaningless after retirement. So like that, each one gets addicted to something or the other. And eventually they conclude that without those things, their life is empty. And once we start thinking why I should live, for whom I should live, etc., it leads to more and more confusion and delusion. And Vedanta says, nothing can give you or make anything meaning or give meaning to life. Nothing can add any meaning to your life. Let the whole world exist. Your life will be meaningful. Let the whole world go away. Still your life is meaningful. Because you are feeling this meaninglessness. Because you don't know what is the purpose of your life. You are ignorant about the entire purpose of this life. You are strayed away from the teachings of the scriptures, which scripture after scripture is actually elaborating or stating what the purpose of this life is. You have gone away from that. You are told either ignorant or being knowledgeable, you just are ignoring it. So therefore, Vedanta says, do not connect the purpose or meaning to anything else at all. You alone are the most meaningful thing in this entire universe. And that is the reason why, as Swami Paramathananda says, we have to train our mind right from the beginning itself, right from the childhood itself. That my life is full and complete because of the life itself, not because of any of these blessed things. Every day morning we wake up, we must actually have a cheer in our mind when we wake up. Thank God. I did not die when I was sleeping. I am here to live one more day. Today, we see many old people afflicted with lot of problems. They keep thinking, why am I, living with all these problems? Why God is not taking me away from here? They still believe that God is waiting, put you on a waiting list. They have no clue as to why they are suffering. They do not connect the fact that all this suffering is because of my previous karmas. God has got nothing to do with it. The only thing he has done is he is just giving the results of all my own karmas to me in the form of these sufferings. They don't connect that at all. Their complaint is that why God is not taking me away, why he is making me suffer like this. All my life I have been very prayerful and all that kind of thing. Good. You have been prayerful, for that you will get the result in some other life or later on in this life. But right now you are undergoing the results of all the karmas that you did in your previous lives. You can't escape that. So this, situation needs to be addressed right in the early stages of our life itself, of our after birth, from childhood onwards. And that is why religious training, teachings, preparation, etc. has to start very early. We have to start actually looking at Ishvara, Bhagavan, the grace of Bhagavan. Every day we live, every breath we take is grace of Bhagavan. Because nobody knows what is in store the next moment, rather. We hear so many stories. A person is dancing, very well in a marriage. In fact, I've seen a video. One person was dancing in a marriage, in a North Indian marriage. And then he goes and sits down on the stage and he collapsed, finished. End of story. He was very active till the one moment ago, dancing and all that. We saw what happened to that Karnataka actor recently. So nobody knows what is in store the next moment. And that is why in all our prayers, what we say, Jivema Sharadashatam, may I live to 100 years. But living 100 years, not with all sorts of diseases and all that. Pashyema Sharadashatam, let me see for those 100 years. Sunuvama Sharadashatam, let my hearing be very good for those 100 years. This is the prayer, these are mantras recited in the Madhyana. When we do Sandhya Vandanam, these are all prayers we pray for this. So, ending our life is not a solution to any of the problems. In fact, our attempt should be a positive, a strong-minded person he will overcome all these disabilities, all these depressions, and he will look forward to live a very healthy, mentally healthy, physically healthy life for 100 years. And that is what Vedanta says you are made for. This body, mind, sense complex which Bhagavan has given you, the shelf life is 100 years. But you, because of using your own free will, you are cutting it short because of so many reasons. Okay. So if we don't have this religious background, if we don't have this bhakti in us, this reverential attitude in us, what will happen? All these crutches in terms of pleasure-giving crutches which we hold on to, when those crutches fall, we also fall along with the crutches. That's what happens. And here Arjuna is a typical example for that. And that's why he says, I do not see anything good for myself without these people. And these people means what? Bhishma Acharya, Dronacharya, etc. So according to him, they alone can make his life meaningful. And without their existence, he does not see anything good in his life. That's why he says, after destroying my people, Swajanam Hatva, my life will be meaningless. And further, he also does not see any meaning in victory. Any soldier goes to a war to win. Here, Arjuna came to the war to win. Now he says, I don't see any meaning in my victory. When the war was about to start, he was very clear in his mind about dharma, and all those things. He understood very well that this whole war is about dharma samsthapanarthaya, for establishment of dharma. So this war was for dharma samsthapanam. Now he has forgotten that completely, and he begins to look at life from the standpoint of an ordinary samsari, of people coming and going. Agama payino. People coming and going. And this is what is called samsara, the short-sightedness of samsara. And our Dharma Shastra says that people, or for that matter, any object, is always subject to arrival and departure, to birth and death. Whereas dharma is shashwatam. And that is why it is called Sanatana Dharma. Our religion is called Sanatana Dharma, Shashwata Dharma. Therefore, if we need to have any attachment at all, any raga at all, it should be to the Shashwata Dharma, which is permanent, and not to this Ashwashwata, things, people, and also objects. Ashashwata Janah. We must not have any attachment. In fact, in Kathopanishad, Nachiketas says very beautifully, Sasyamiva martyaha pachyate sasyamiva ajayate punaha. He says that in this world, the men, the mortal people who are mortal, they wither, right? Martya means you can say wither, or they actually get destroyed like the fruits in the field, rather, right? And like the fruits, they are born again. So people are mortals, holding on to mortals. How can we give up dharma? Therefore, an attached mind sees people as more important than dharma. These are all lessons we have to learn from these slokas. This is what Vyasacharya wants to project, rather. A man of right vision sees dharma as more important than all these temporary things. And that is why a man of right vision will always lead a dharmic life. But here, Arjuna, unfortunately, poor Arjuna is confused. Na kankshate vijayam Krishna, na rajyam sukhani cha. Even the kingdom is meaningless, it is purposeless. Nacha sukhani, all pleasures of life are also worthless. Kimno rajyena govinda. Hey Krishna, what is the use of getting this kingdom? Then kim bhogaihi jivitena va. What is the use of living itself? See where he is heading. What is the use of pleasures? What is the use of kingdom? And finally he says, what is the use of purpose of living itself? Whereas our Dharma Shastra says, the purpose of living is not a few people around or a few possessions that you have. The original purpose of living is spiritual attainment. And if you forget that, you get into all these troubles. That is the lesson that we have to learn from what is happening to Arjuna in this first chapter. And now his own problems are now intensifying. And he continues. Yesha marte kankšitam no rajyam bhogha sukhani cha ta imeva stita yuddhe pranam styaktva dhanani cha. Anvaya is tyaktva pranan dhanani cha युद्धे अवस्थिताः येषाम् अर्थे राज्यं भोगाः सुखानि च नः कांक्षितम्. त्यक्त्वा प्राणान्, renouncing their lives, dhanani cha, and also the wealth, yuddhe, in this war, avastita, all these people have assembled, yesha marte, for whose sake alone, rajyam, the kingdom, bhogaha, the sense object, sukhanicha, and pleasures, na kangshitam, are desired by us. So he says, renouncing their lives, and also wealth. That is, they have come here. Sure, death is there. They have already renounced their lives. Okay. And these people have assembled for this war. And for these people, their sake alone, all these kingdom, sense objects, pleasures have been decided by us. We wanted the kingdom, we wanted all these pleasures and all. For whom? For these people. Now, if they themselves are not going to be there, what is the use of all these things for us is what Arjuna is now asking. Total somersault he has taken, rather. Complete somersault. He has changed the goalpost from the original purpose of the Mahabharata battle itself. He says, for the sake of these very people, I mean, what he is referring to here is Bhishma and Drona. That is the center. That is how the whole thing started when he saw Bhishma and Drona. He says it is for the sake of Bhishma and Drona that we wanted this kingdom, that we wanted all the pleasures. And if they themselves are not going to be there, then what is the use of all these things for us? He is asking Krishna. So, continuing from the previous sloka, he is now pointing out that even though earlier we had wanted all these things, we wanted to win, we wanted all these pleasures, we wanted Rajyam, but that was for the purpose of offering all those pleasures and kingdom to these Dronacharya and Bhishmacharya. Now, if they are not going to be there, what is the use of those things for us? He is asking. Yesha marte, for the enjoyment of this Bhishma and Drona, etc. See, from a dharmic war, this has now become a war which will result in a victory for Arjuna and getting the kingdom, which he will offer to Drona and Bhishmacharya, against whom he is fighting for the kingdom. See the confusion in his mind, the delusion in his mind. He is not even seeing them as the very enemies, rather. Now he has become, they have now become the whole, the aim of why he is fighting this war. So according to him, the purpose of fighting this Mahabharata battle was to get all pleasures, kingdom, and then give those pleasures and the kingdom, offer them to Bhishma, Drona, and others. It is just like, some people will actually accomplish something significant, important thing. And they will dedicate their success to their parents or guru, etc., mother. Some books and all they will write, you can see in the first page, dedicated to. So like that. Dedication, dedicating this victory to Dronacharya and Bhishmacharya, whom he is going to kill in this war. Funny situation. So he says that likewise, I wanted to accomplish all these things and dedicate them to Bhishma and Drona. And such people are going to be destroyed by me in this war. What situation is this, Krishna? He is asking. And it's a clear indication now his mind has become totally clouded. He has completely what is right and wrong and all that Viveka is gone completely. He has even forgotten that the purpose of fighting this Mahabharata war, fighting Bhishma and Drona, was to wrest the kingdom from Duryodhana. It was the purpose was to fight all the adharmas that Duryodhana has done and to fight Bhishma and Drona, because right now they are on the side of adharma. So you have to not only fight adharma but also accomplices of adharma also you have to fight. This was all the original purpose. And if they are unfortunately on the adharma side, they have also to be destroyed. The vision was very clear before. Now he has turned the table. Arjuna has turned the table. And he says, for Bhishma's and Drona's sake only, I was going to fight this war. Therefore, he says, Yesha, here we have to add Bhishma Dronana, Prayojanaya eva, for their purpose alone, Rajyam Bhogaha Sukhanicha Kaunchitam. I desired all these Rajyam, Bhoga, Sukhani, and etc. for the sake of this Bhishma and Drona. That's how we have to interpret these lines. And all these people, Ime Asmin Yuddhe Avastita hai, those who have assembled, how they have assembled Pranan Tyaktva Dhanani cha, sacrificing their life and wealth, they are all standing there. And therefore, Arjuna's argument now to Krishna is, if I win this war and get the kingdom, to whom will I show this to? I wanted to win this war only to bring the kingdom and all the goodies and offer them to Bhishma and Drona to enjoy. It is like some children, who will win some trophy in the school. And they will rush home to show the trophy to their parents, proud parents. So they will say, excellent, very good. You have done a great job. And if I have to use an American lingo, it's a good job. I learned from my daughter and son-in-law, good job. Whenever their children do something, good job. That means you have done a great job. But Arjuna says, no, if I kill them and get the kingdom, to whom will I offer this kingdom? And all these pleasures. Therefore, this Mahabharata war is utterly meaningless. This is his conclusion. And not only that, he further continues. Acharya pitara putra hai, tataiva cha pitamaha hai, matula shasuras pautra hai, shala sambandhinastadha, yetan hantum ichchami, gnatopi madhusudhana, api trailokya rajyasya, heto kim numahi krite. We'll see these two slokas together. He says, He Madhusudana, etan acharya hai, pitara hai, putra hai, tata evacha pitamaha hai, matula hai, Shwashura hai, pautra hai, shyala hai, tata sambandhina hai. We have to bring from the previous pranan dhanani chatyaktva yuddhe avastita hai, mam gnatah api trailokya rajyasya hetoho api na hantum ichchami kim nu mahi krite. Further arguments. We want Krishna to see. I'm not just saying relatives and all that. It is not restricted to only Drona and Bhishmacharya. There are so many others. Krishna, see them. By killing them, you mean to say that I'm going to be happy, all of them? Hey Madhusudana, hey Krishna, Acharya hai teachers, Pitara hai fathers, Putra has sons, Tata evacha as well as Pitamaha hai grandfathers, Matula hai uncles, Shashura hai fathers-in-law, Pautra hai grandsons, Shala hai brothers-in-law, Tata Sambandhina and all other relatives. Pranan dhanani cha tyaktva yuddhe avastita hai, who renouncing their lives and wealth have assembled in this war. Mam gnataha api, even if they kill me, Trailokya Rajyasya Hetoho api, even for the sake of the kingdoms of all three worlds. Etan, these people, na hantum ichami, I do not desire to kill. Kim nu mahikrite, why should I indeed fight? All this list he had given earlier itself. The very first time when he saw Bhishma and Drona, then he gave all this. I not only see Bhishma, Drona, all these relatives, fathers-in-law, and all that he has given this list. He repeating it again. And what the point is making is, all these people have come here. They have given up their life. They have given up their wealth, everything. They have given up their home. They have all come here, assembled this war to fight. And by killing them, even if I am going to get the kingdom of all the three worlds, I have no desire to kill them. Even if they kill me, I am not going to kill them. Arjuna, the great warrior, what words he is speaking. So again, here, Arjuna is reinforcing the fact that he only sees relatives and Bandhava and Swajanam and Sambandhina hai, Pitra hai, Pautra hai, all this only is seeing that. Pita, Pautra hai and all. He is not seeing any warrior. He has converted this whole Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra as a Samsara Kshetra. He has done that. In his mind, he has converted the whole thing as a Samsara Kshetra. So, this attachment has overwhelmed his thinking capacity, and it has veiled or covered, as it were, his earlier resolve to fight the war to re-establish Dharma. Typical breakdown. The condition of typical breakdown. When people go into this situation, many times you will observe, they will repeat the same thing again and again. In fact, if somebody, very close to whom somebody is attached passes away, a spouse, between the spouses, one spouse passes away. The other spouse, it has been totally attached. People will come, they will go on repeating the same thing about the spouse which has passed away. They are in a totally depressed condition. They will even say, this person has gone, without that person, how I can live now? What is the purpose of my living? All those things, this attachment leads to rather. That's why we see the people who are drowned in sorrow. They will keep on repeating that. Right? Like a broken gramophone record, old record. These days, if you say gramophone, nobody will even know what it is. Other than, of course, people of our generation. Youngsters and all, we don't know what is gramophone. But we remember the gramophone record, if I had a scratch, it will go on repeating the same thing again and again. However much you console them, it will not work. Only time can help. That's why the best solution for such situations, if we confront, is let them, say whatever they want to say. Don't try to counter them. Don't try to give them some sort of an answer, and all that. Don't try to start teaching Vedanta to them, karma and all that. It will not go anything inside. Just leave them alone, brother. And such situations are actually sometimes very difficult to handle also. Even though a person may actually have prepared himself that when the tragedy comes, I'll be okay and all that. But when the problem actually comes, it becomes very difficult. That's the nature of the human mind. And that is the reason why we need to continue to work for Chitta Shuddhi. This Raga Dvesha, Krishna will say later. The whole problem, Arjuna, is this Raga Dvesha. Arjuna asks why this is happening. Krishna will say, Raga Dvesha is the crux of the problem. And you can get rid of Raga Dvesha only by more and more Chitta Shuddhi, more and more purification of your Antakarana. It's a process which we have to use our free will and do deliberately. And more Chitta Shuddhi we get, our Raga attachment will get diluted, start getting diluted. And we will be able to confront any tragedy with equanimity, with a very calm mind. Because of this Raga Dvesha power or overpowering our mind, the mind also, becomes very turbulent rather whenever it faces such tragic situations. Arjuna probably had never prepared for these situations. And so he is sliding down. Slowly he is sliding down in the Raga track. Okay. And Krishna is silent, utterly silent. That's not opening his mouth at all. He's a silent spectator and he wants Arjuna to exhaust all that he wants to say. Another very great lesson we can learn from Krishna. If somebody is pouring his heart out to you, blaming this person, that person, the whole world and all that, be like Krishna. Silently listen to that person. Let him actually get rid of all that is there in his chest. That's why I said, don't start a Vedanta lecture, say it's all karma phala, this, that and all, Ishvara, Bhagawad. Don't say anything. Just keep quiet. Maximum, you can just tap that person's shoulder and say, okay, fine. I understand. Don't give them lecture on sadhana, chatushte, sampatti, viveka, vairagya and all that. We have to be very careful where to use Vedanta, where not to use Vedanta. Let that person exhaust all his feelings. That is exactly what Krishna is now doing. Allowing Arjuna to exhaust all his feelings. He will speak later in the next chapter. But right now, till the end of this chapter, it's only Arjuna's Vishadam only. He'll go on pouring out his heart. So that's why Arjuna once again recounts all his relatives and says, come what may, I will not kill them even for the sake of all the kingdoms in these three worlds. It may appear that he is being very compassionate. So as I always say, it's very difficult to decide or differentiate between attachment and compassion. Very difficult. We may think that Arjuna has got compassion, and the question will be, how do we know that it is attachment and not compassion? The simple test is, in attachment, a person's vision of dharma and adharma gets clouded. But even at the height of compassion, however much a person may be disturbed by compassion, he will not violate dharma. A judge may feel compassion for a criminal. When the criminal is crying, he has done such a crime that it is going to be a death penalty for him, the capital punishment. And he asks for a mercy petition. Interestingly, this fellow will now come there and plead for mercy. But when he committed that murder, he had no mercy for the other people who, because of his killing, would be suffering rather. He had no compassion for them. But now, since he is the receiving end, he wants compassion. He wants the President of India to pardon him. This is the funny thing, this is how in the world we live in. When he killed so many people, he never thought what their wives will be doing, that the children will be doing and all that. Now he will cry, I have got a wife, I have got children. So don't give me death penalty. Without me, what they will do that. But a judge can never ever be, afford to show a false compassion. If the crime deserves a capital punishment as per law, he has to award that. And when he does that, he upholds dharma. Similarly, here also, if at all it is said that Arjuna is showing compassion, we can best say it is misplaced compassion. And therefore, it is a problem of raga or attachment alone. And here he addresses Krishna as He Madhusudhana, a name which means that destroyer of Madhu and Kaitapa. Madhu, the Rakshasa, Madhusudana, Madhu, Kaitapa, both were killed. Here he is referring to Madhusudana, means Madhu Rakshasa was killed by Krishna rather. So Arjuna is implying that, oh Krishna, you did not face any problem when you destroyed this Madhu Rakshasa. Killing a Rakshasa is easy because Rakshasas are all adharmic people. But I am not killing any Rakshasas here. I am going to kill my own relatives. Arjuna is ignoring the fact that Krishna also killed his own uncle Kamsa when he was doing adharmic things. Right? So selective memory, case of selective memory. What he wants to quote, he will quote. What he wants to ignore, he will carefully ignore, like many politicians do these days. Right? So what he's saying is, Krishna, for you the job was easier, but I cannot do that. Gnataha api, even if I am killed, even these people choose to kill me, I will not raise my arms, I will not raise my bow. Trailokya rajyasya hetoho api, even if I am going to get all the three lokas, Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, Suvarloka, it will not be worth killing these people. The loss of Bhishma, Drona and all these relatives cannot be compensated by all these three lokas. Then what to talk of fighting for a small kingdom? This Hastinapur kingdom. Kimnu mahi krite. Why should I indeed fight? Is the question that Arjuna is asking Krishna. And then he goes on further to elaborate. And later he will talk also about what consequences will happen by killing all these people, which we will see in the next classes. Okay, I'll say the prayers. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Namaskar. Thank you,
All
Raghu
very
ji.
much.
Mama, Namaskaram, Mama. Can you please repeat the word meanings of Etana Hantumichhami?
Etan means these people.
Okay.
Hantumichhami is desire to kill. Ichhami is I desire. Right.
Okay.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste.
Thank you, Guruji.
1 second. Let me mute. There's a lot of sound coming. People have suddenly unmuted. So I have to mute because then I can't continue.
Namaskaram.
Namaskaram. Mute.
Namaste, thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.
All of you, please mute yourself and only one person unmute who is asking the question, so that we have an opportunity for everybody to listen to what is being asked and what is being answered. Okay. Now, who was that asked the question?
Namaskaram, Mama. It was me. Wanted the meaning of Hantum Ichchami.
Me means who? What's the name?
Sujata.
Sujata. Okay, so I will. Oh, okay. Because India also has unmuted, so I have muted that. Okay. Now, Hantum Ichchami. Ichchami means I desire. Hantum means to kill, right? So, what was the sentence? You have the slokam with tu.
Yes.
Etan na hantum ichchami, right? Etan, these people, na, not, hantum, to kill, ichchami, I desire. I do not desire to kill these people. That is etan na hantum ichchami. Got it?
Yes, Mama. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, any other question, please?
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank
very
you very
much.
much. Thank you very much, Guruji.
Thank you very much.
Very nicely
Guruji.
explained. Very nicely explained, Guruji, today. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you, Mama. Namaskaram.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you. No hands are going up, so I feel that there are no questions. Okay. We'll see more. I mean, this will become very more and more interesting with the arguments which Arjuna is going to present. Very interesting arguments he presents, and very logical also. I mean, we cannot say just because he is confused and deluded, he has lost his sense of logic. And he, from his own perspective, he will logically argue. And Krishna will give him an answer in the next chapter. So we'll see that. Okay. So if there are no more questions, can we close for today? Yes? Okay. Hari Om. Thank you very much, all of you. See you in the next class.